Welcome to One Chapter, One Thought. I'm Pastor Chris from Lincroft Bible Church in New Jersey, and every weekday I read one chapter of the Bible and offer one brief devotional thought. Today's reading is from the book of Genesis, chapter 7. When everything was ready, the Lord said to Noah, "Go into the boat with all your family, for among all the people of the earth I can see that you alone are righteous. Take with you 7 pairs, male and female, of each animal that I have approved for eating and for sacrifice, and take 1 pair of each of the others. Also, take 7 pairs of every kind of bird. There must be a male and a female in each pair to ensure that all life will survive on the earth after the flood. 7 days from now I will make the rains pour down on the earth, and it will rain for 40 days and 40 nights until I've wiped from the earth all the living things I have created." So Noah did everything the Lord commanded him. Noah was 600 years old when the flood covered the earth. He went on board the boat to escape the flood, he and his wife and his sons and their wives. With them there were all various kinds of animals, those approved for eating and for sacrifice, and those who were not, along with all the birds and the small animals that scurry along the ground. They entered the boat in pairs, male and female, just as God had commanded Noah. After 7 days the waters of the flood came and covered the earth. When Noah was 600 years old, on the 17th day of the 2nd month, all the underground waters erupted from the earth, and the rain fell in mighty torrents from the sky. The rain continued to fall for 40 days and 40 nights. That very day, Noah had gone into the boat with his wife and his sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and their wives. With them in the boat were pairs of every kind of animal, domestic and wild, large and small, along with birds of every kind. 2 by 2 they came into the boat, representing every living thing that breathes. A male and a female of each kind entered, just as God had commanded Noah. Then the Lord closed the door behind them. For 40 days the flood waters grew deeper, covering the ground and lifting the boat high above the earth. As the waters rose higher and higher above the ground, the boat floated safely on the surface. Finally, the water covered even the highest mountains on the earth, rising more than 22 feet above the highest peaks. All the living things on earth died: birds, domestic animals, wild animals, small animals that scurry along the ground, and all the people. Everything that breathed and lived on dry land died. God wiped out every living thing on the earth: people, livestock, small animals that scurry along the ground, and the birds of the sky. All were destroyed. The only people who survived were Noah and those with him in the boat, and the floodwaters covered the earth for 150 days. One thought. God called Noah to himself out of the mass of human wickedness. God then commissions Noah to build a massive boat to withstand the coming flood of judgment. Eventually, the boat is ready, and Noah brings his family and animals of every kind onto the ark. Then the floodwaters come. Now, the flood is not just an example of judgment. It certainly is that, but it's more than that, because the text presents the flood as a reversal of creation. It's almost like a de-creation event. Notice what happens. The underground waters erupt and great rains fell. This is reversing what happens in Genesis 1. If you remember back in Genesis 1, the earth was largely covered in water to begin with, and then God creates boundaries by separating the waters. It says he puts some waters up in the sky, some waters below, and he creates these boundaries as he creates the earth. And yet here in the flood, we see this boundary that God had made separating the waters. It is like it collapses, and the world resorts to its pre-creation, watery, almost chaos-like state, as Genesis 1:2 describes it. So this isn't just random, wanton destruction, but this is a undoing of creation. And I think what God is showing here also, though, is that human sin undoes creation. Human sin is what impacts creation. See, God created us as his image bearers to rule over the earth. not to rule in this domineering, exploitative way, but we are, in a sense, to be stewards of the earth, to bring out its full potential, to care for it, to demonstrate God's love and goodness to the whole world. That is who we are as his image bearers, and yet through our sin, it affects not only us, but the very fabric of creation itself. And yet, even in the midst of this horrific judgment, we see glimmers of grace in this passage. We see that, nothing that is sinful will escape God's judgment, but nothing that is faithful will escape God's preservation. Right? God sees that Noah is righteous in verse 1. I don't think this means that Noah is sinless. I think it's drawing a contrast between the wickedness of Noah and humanity. The fact that Noah is blameless. He genuinely loves God and is seeking to follow him. And so God spares Noah and his family. So even though there is this horrific judgment that's happening, God still shows grace. And that same grace is available to us who are in Christ. We can take heart because God will never cast out those who are in Christ, and he preserves those who are faithful all the way to the end.